Morning, Lydie.
Morning, I'm here.
Okay, so I'm just going to step down and let you get on with it.
Okay, thanks. Hello, everybody. So let me share my screen. Oh, before I share my screen, I want to invite everybody to do a little bit of some sort of attunement, and we use our hands for that. So nobody can see you, so go for it. We are earth builders. I hope everybody knows the sensation of touching clay mortar, clay walls, and everything. So we just can wake up our hands because we are here with full body and not just with our brains. And you can do a little massage or shake them or just hold them together, and that's it. And remember how it feels like when you touch earth. Okay, so now I share my screen. And woohoo. So I have prepared, I hope you can see what you can see, but I have prepared a big slideshow, and I will not show it to you. I will not show everything to you. I will jump to 10, 20, 30, 40, and then we take it from there. But we'll walk through it quick. So
that looks great, Lydie. But if you could just speak up a tiny bit, people are just saying you're a little bit. Yeah. Thanks so much.
Okay. I can get closer to my computer. So the question I was asked is, where can European collaboration take us? And for that, we need to know where it comes from. So this is where I will go very quick because it's about the past. So 2002, we had a few partner organizations from 6 countries, and 2020, we had over 62 partner organizations from 19 countries that had participated in one way or another in a European funded project. So here are some of the main of these projects. This is not the place to explain all of this to you. And there is a partner agreement with 17 partners from, can't remember how many countries now. We had a big gathering in 2016, and where we started talking, okay, how do we go on as a group? And so, yes, what am I doing in all this? Well, I would like to take you back to 1998 for me, May 7th. It's exactly the same date than today, I found out. And I was presenting my PhD on that day. And I found that I had a quote on the first page of my PhD, and it says, researchers should become aware of their new duty to no longer overwhelm their fellow citizens with daily accumulated information or technical achievements, but to help them to get personal synthesis aligned with the hopes and anxieties of all humans. I only exist within me. And today we represent 5 billion people, so that was 1992. It's a quote by Albert Jacquard. Today we are almost 8 billion. So I only exist within me. That's what collaboration and networking is about. And since 1998, I think for me, it's still the same. So what happened in between? At the same time, 1998, I bought this rammed earth house that I'm sitting in today. And 2020, I was doing crazy stuff with crazy people in several countries during the JUMP project. And so this is the network. Well, the netting is like getting connected to people, and the working is, as I said, all of these projects producing many deliverables and charts and sheets and so on, and websites, and doing all these meetings. And one of them, as I said, was 2016, where we had as a theme Earth Without Borders. And it's for me the first time that I dared to also put the H in front of the word Earth, like it's also about the heart for many of us, all this networking. And then we started the JUMP project. So that's another story. I will not go into it. It's been a lot of fun, and it's been a lot of work too. And there will be hopefully opportunities where we can share more about JUMP and invite you in to some first maybe online stuff, but with JUMP we have a kind of a compass that we now use as a network, and it also answers the question, where will this collaboration take us? Well, our compass is, first, we want something that sustains life. Second, we want to learn and teach. We want to cooperate, and we want to assess what we're doing. So there's modules, teaching modules for trainers. That's the output of this process, and we are just about to start using this. And so back to the question, where can European collaboration take us? Where do we come from, and now where do we stand? And also, how do we see our network, and what do we look for, and where do we look for it, and what is in the dark? All these questions, I think, are necessary to answer this question of where will it take us, and what is in the dark. That's Cliff, as 2 years ago, Surab has this brilliant presentation about the man looking for his key and looking under the street lamp, just because there was some light under the street lamp, and we need to know what's in the dark, otherwise we will not. Like Surab's conclusion was that if we want to get anywhere as a humanity in the current transition that we are in, we need to use both places, in the light and in the dark. And so now I will take you in the dark. Again, I could say, where do we stand? Well, we stand here with all these organizations and with all these meetings, our seasonal meetings that Susanna mentioned, and the countries that signed up, and candidates that want to join our agreement, and blah, blah, blah. And then there's this network, and this is a picture of the internet from 2005. So by now, I don't know what it looks like, but there's on this link that you will find on my presentation, there's nice animations about that. But this is one way to looking at things and collaborations, and it's the logical and linear and usual way we are used to. And there's theory about that, about types and structures and definitions and properties of networks, also applying to training networks and so on. And for me, that's the engineering approach. And I spell engineering like engineering. And there's another approach that's more and more becoming known, and more people dare to use it or dare to speak about it. And Nora Bateson calls it the warm data. And I will show you a little bit more about this. But instead of also like wanting to explain to you what it means, we are just going to do it. So my question, and I will stop screen sharing, is actually, what about you? Because where do we stand? It's also, where do you stand? How do you see our network? What are you looking for, and what can you give to this network today in the present? We're in the present, and we're talking about the network, and the network today is you. It's 200 people online out of 380 that signed up, and many more will maybe watch it later. So I have 3 questions for you, 2 questions for you, and we're going to go into breakout rooms, and Morgan will help me set this up.
Yes, I will. Hi. So do you want to ask the first question, and then I'll let them know how to.
So the first question, can you still see my screen? I will stop the screen sharing. Okay, so the first question is, for today, what led you to accept the invitation to be here? Good, so I come back to my screen sharing, and yes, please feel free in the chat to answer the last question about what struck you in these tiny conversations. And so this whole thing, it's part of something called the 6 conversations. It's a whole process you can do over hours, and this is just a small glimpse of it, but I think it's a brilliant community building tool, a network building tool, and it's about seeing how much everybody is willing to engage, because you are the network, or you are the network. We are the network. It's not just something out there. We are really part of it. And I just wanted to come back once more to, okay, where does Earthbuilding sit in a collaborative space, and what are we interested in, and what are the other networks, because we are the Earthbuilding part of a bigger part. So there are things we are quite familiar with, I guess, and I hope everybody's already also connecting to this kind of other networks, not only Earth. There's the straw bale, the dry stone people, tiny house, cooperatives movements, low carbon, bioclimatic architecture, eco villages, passive house, and so on and so on. These are the stuff we're familiar with. There's other stuff we're maybe less familiar with, and it depends on our personal, on our personal interests. But there's experiential learning, organic clothing, activist training, indigenous cultures, ecofeminism, body-mind therapy, work with refugees or hard to reach people, gift economy, and so on. There's many themes out there, and I think it's really necessary and worth for us to see ourselves in this bigger picture with possibility of way broader networking and cooperation, and we need to get together with these people that have similar mindsets, and there are certainly skill sets to be shared. And so now, yeah, okay, I was about just to say that there's a few books and one, like many resources about all this, but there are these three about the art of networking, which is more the engineering approach. Then there's a co-creative handbook for creative professionals that's in between, and then there's the cultural emergence by Ruby McNamara from the Permaculture Network, which is a really great tool for warm data. And then there's this warm data video that I really would like everybody to see. It's 2 minutes, but I cannot play it here. It's Morgan who was supposed to do that, but I think she's fishing for her bed now, so I don't know how we can do that. And I put the link in the chat so you can find it. And basically the message here is that nothing of all this is, if it's alive, it's not linear and you can't foresee it, and there's shifting phases where everything becomes different, and it's stuff is emerging from nowhere, and it just happens because it's life. And I think this also we need to have in mind, that if we go for more collaboration and so on, we can't know what's really going to happen, but it's our job to go, and then we see. So yeah, there was this question that I didn't ask all the others, but I can answer it for myself. If we are going to cooperate, it's about people who are cooperating. The network, it's black box. The network is nothing if it's not individuals. So personally, what can I offer to this group? First of all, we could do a webinar where we go into more of the details of what I went through very quick in the beginning of my presentation. I can offer that. We could think about hosting these 6 conversations, like you just got the very first questions. There's many more, but we could do this over, I don't know, 3-4 weeks. Maybe I could, I'm going to start some more learning about warm data processes, and maybe at some point I could share about that. In November, we're going hopefully to start jump together webinars, and this will be free, like once a month, where everybody's going to be invited. I don't know what happens if we end up being 300, but let's see. We're also trying to create a calendar, a Learn Earth calendar, where the assessment offer that goes with the Learn Earth certificates is more visible than it is today, and maybe more shared also between European training organizations. And there's two big topics that came really up this week in my French network. So I'm going into more technical stuff here, but one is the level 7 discussion. We have created units of learning outcomes for several levels of the European certification framework, but we stopped before 7. 7 is the level of the architects and the engineers, and we didn't describe learning outcomes for architects and engineers so far, and there's a real need to have these quite quick actually in France because it's linked to funding. And so then we go, the building site for level 7 is open, I think. And how do we do it? Will all the French just do it in their corner of the table, or can we get together and not just everybody do the same thing in there, put the same energy, but just to have their own thing, or can we do it together? That's a big question. And the other discussion is about earth and fibers, because we've done clay plaster for many years in the European training network. We've only been talking and working with clay plaster. Then we had the Pyro project, and we went into render, scab, and bricks, Adobe. So that's the load-bearing stuff, and we haven't opened the box about the non-load-bearing stuff at all, and it is a very big chapter. Whatland, daub, light clay, whatever kind of infills, and whatever kind of sandwiches of earth and fiber also for insulation. It doesn't have to be about mixes, and here we go into all the things regarding U values and all this thermal rules. And so I think that could be very nice. It's the Cobb-Bush project already also went into that direction, but it's the future of Earth building. It's to go with fibers, obviously. And so the last thing that I personally could offer in maybe a more smaller space than this one is Tom had sent me loads of very precise questions about the European Earth building network, and I think this is not the place to go into these discussions. It's not for me to answer these questions, but in the next seasonal Earthbuild Europe meetings, we can definitely have a look at these and take it as a prompt for our next discussions.